When the prophet Isaiah talks in his third servant song about being somebody who can bring hope and strength to the weary, it's not because he's just a particularly good person. He's somebody who has been through an extraordinary experience and has come to understand what it means to be persecuted from the inside of that experience, as it were. You can tell from the language that he uses. He gives his back to those who strike him. He doesn't turn away his face from those who spit on him. He gives his beard to those who would pluck out his facial hair. So it's a pretty rugged, brutal kind of picture, but in a very wonderful way that actually gives Isaiah some remarkable insight into what it means to be faithful to the faithful one. And he also can see that in marked contrast to what is the predominant culture, the popular position, the place where most people are standing, because most people are standing against him. And so he has made a very different kind of decision about where he is going to stand. So we get this incredible servant song in Isaiah chapter 50, beginning at verse 4. We're going to read through to verse 9. And it's a servant song that is in some ways hard to read because it is quite brutal, and it speaks of someone who makes themselves vulnerable in the face of obvious hostility and violence. And yet it's incredibly hopeful because it holds on to something that is bigger than that hostility and violence, and knows that the thing that is bigger, that is better than the hostility and violence, will ultimately prevail. That is an incredible hope. It's an incredible hope wherever you are. It's an even more incredible hope when you are facing that violence and opposition. And there's a sense in which we need to understand that in order to be ready to stay faithful when it's not as convenient as it might otherwise be to stay faithful. The history of God's people is a sordid and broken one. We have been faithful in fits and starts, and often we are much like the culture that surrounds us. This is a profoundly human thing. We're no better or no worse than anybody else, except that we are called to be different. We're called to hold on to something that is eternal, something that stands beyond time, something that is not simply the knee-jerk reaction to the immediate data around us, the triggers that are going on in our immediate context. So this song of Isaiah in Isaiah 50 has something really remarkable to say to us, and we're going to talk about that on Sunday morning. It's Palm Sunday, and hopefully I'll manage to get some palms from somewhere. We probably won't wave them around, but we'll try and decorate with them. A bit of internal decoration stuff would be good. We've got our Passover on Saturday night if you're booked in for that. Unfortunately, that RSVP date has now gone. So if you're in, you're in. If you're not, there's always next year. As we say, next year in Jerusalem, although probably more likely in Ultimo. What else do I need to tell you? We're coming up to Good Friday in a week or so, just over a week away, or nearly 2 weeks away. And we're looking forward to doing our stations. Hopefully it won't be quite as wet by then. And then we can celebrate Resurrection Sunday after that. So wherever you are, I hope you're managing to stay safe and dry. And above all, that you're managing to stay faithful. God bless. See you soon.